Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokatz. Welcome to Living in Two Worlds right here at Star Nation's live stream shows on Facebook. Tonight is Thursday, February 27th. Can you believe that? We're already at the end of the month. And I've been saying this in almost all the shows that I've been doing this week. It's like February has gone by so fast. It was like a half blink of an eye, right? It's been so fast. But tonight we're in for a treat because my co-hosts, Ortrun and Carl Franklin, are here, and we're going to be sharing some information with you all about being a light worker, being an energy worker, and you know, all the stuff that goes along with that. And as we're doing this, I would like to invite you to maybe send a live stream show over to maybe a friend or over to your personal newsfeed, because the information shared tonight, I'm sure, is going to be some aha moments for you. It always is. With our two elders that are in Star Nations here, I'm always taking notes, and because you never know what golden nugget is going to come up. So we're going to bring them on. Why don't we bring in Ortrun and Carl? Hello.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here again. It's always a wonderful feeling when we get together, and it's always amazing how quickly the month does go by. So it's fun to be here again. Thank you.
And Neshi, I often wonder when you say that golden nugget, what it's going to be, or if there's going to be one.
We never know. That's the thing. That's just the thing. And I know, because we've been doing this show together for over almost 2 years now, and there always is some piece of information that everybody goes, oh my God, yeah, right? And so, and do I know what it is? No, but I know there's going to be one. I'm just sharing up the show to everybody that wanted me to send them a reminder. So, Holly Joe's show, Chakra Sessions, is just finishing up, and just seconds ago. And so I'm sure there will be more people coming over from that as well. Yeah. All right. There we go. So what do you guys think what would you want to address first?
Carl's going to start.
Well, today was an interesting day. One of the very first things I do every morning is I get in my meditation chair and I do a clearing. And by a clearing, I'm talking about, I'm going to call it an assigned job, if you will. And that is to help people who are on the astral plane. These are people no longer wearing physical bodies who, for whatever reason, when they died, chose not to go into heaven. Mm. All right. And now they've changed their mind. And I've been working with them for 35 years now. And lately, I'm still working with them, but I'm spending more time working with what I'm going to call the leaders, or the strong men, if you will, who control the lowest level of the astral plane. The part of the Catholic Church for centuries referred to as purgatory. Mm. And there's purgatory and in fact, much of the astral plane has now been cleared out. And there's a particular emphasis on clearing out the lowest level of the astral plane. And because of this, this morning there were 450, according to Ortrun, of these dark lords and dark overlords who are coming to be helped. Mm. They see that their control of this lower part of the astral plane it's going because the lower level, in fact, much of the astral plane is now going. It's no longer going to be there. And their question is, what can I do? Mm-hmm. And I will not deal with them personally. They're too powerful. So I call in archangels who are experts on dealing with them and helping them find their next step or to start a new lifeline. All right.
Yeah.
And then not only them, but the minions, they're those that are beneath them, whose sole function is to serve them, to facilitate what is they want to do and achieve. And when they come in, Ortrun, who is a sensitive, just really, really feels their energy. And when they come in like today, I mean, 450 of these dark, powerful beings. Holy mackerel. I had already done a clearing and I had already worked with them. And maybe a half an hour later, an hour later, she said, Carl, they're here. And she doused 450 of them. And so I go back into meditation, I didn't call in just regular archangels. I called in all of the archangels that could be helpful. And Michael was there, and Ortrun read off a whole list of them that were there. And it's amazing. And anyway, they were helped. So this is not work that everybody does, but it is a work that I'm going to call it a specialized group of people do. And I happen to be a part of that group. And unbeknownst to me, I, in planning this lifetime, planned that. All right. So the amount of time and energy that I'm spending on the spirit realm, if you will, or on otherworldly matters has increased. And because the need has increased. And this isn't just me, but I believe it's true for all of the light workers on the planet. We all plan to help with this ascension process in this lifetime. And that's why we're here. That's a primary function, I think, in all of our lives. And it's imperative that we pay attention to that we meditate daily, that we go in and ask for guidance, and that we ask for the help that we need to do what we're here to do. And we ask for the protection that we need so that we can do it safely. And the ascension cannot happen without us involved. And the tempo of change has, 2020, it's happening faster than it's ever happened before. And perhaps it'll be faster than it's going to be happening throughout this entire ascension process. That's a possibility. I don't know that for a fact at all. But I know that the rate of change in our own personal life and in our family's life, and I'm talking about our extended family, 5 families have changed residences thus far this year.
Oh my gosh, and it's only February.
It's only February.
Yeah.
And 4 houses have been sold. All right. And another, the 4th house is for sale, and that's ours. And there's been 1 death. There are 2 engagements that are announced. And just all of this, job changes are going on.
Right.
And so 2 job changes so far, and all of that in 2 months. And most of them aren't even light workers. Right? I think it's probably even more of this with the light workers, because their involvement is more needed now than ever before. And I just want to throw out one way that everybody can be involved. This virus that seems to be spreading around the world.
Yeah. For
yourself, to avoid it, keep yourself at a level of consciousness at which the virus cannot attain. You're functioning at a level that it can't reach you then. Right? And the second thing you can do for others is you can help to protect, I'm going to call it the earth and the human race, not only by helping them to raise their vibration, but by putting up barriers that will stop or at least slow down and inhibit the activity of the virus itself. All right. And ask for the help of your spirit family, your angels and your guides and higher aspects of yourself, and help from your own soul. And by doing this, we can greatly minimize the effect of it. And please, please don't go into fear. And this virus does not warrant fear. The one of the things that the people that deal with these pandemics calculate is what percentage of the people that get it die. And it's much higher in China. And I understand that they have a different gene over there in their DNA that makes them more susceptible to these kinds of viruses. All right. So the infection rate there is going to be higher than it is in the rest of the world. And the infection rate was, the death rate was like 2%.
Yeah,
and in the rest,
right. I think that's about right.
And in the rest of the world, they figure it's going to be between 0.4 and 0.6%. Just the normal virus or the normal flu that we have every year is higher than that.
Yeah.
So don't go into fear over, it's being over publicized. All right. And know that you have the power to protect yourself and you have the power to help others avoid it or minimize the effect it has on them. And please, in your meditation, send that out on a daily basis for at least the next 2 to 3 months. That is a tremendous help that all of us light workers can give the world and humanity. Okay?
Right.
Your turn, honey. Your turn.
So, okay, where did we go here? I mean, we went all over the place, right? Many, many different directions. But I know there's some questions up on the board, but in 2020 is, first and foremost, we talked about it last month, and it is really such a powerful year. And with all these twos that we have in at this time, especially being in February, we've got the twos. So it's definitely that time where we are moving into that time of the feminine. I mean, we know that that's where we are going, but this year is going to be so filled with that energy of the divine feminine. And that divine feminine is going to actually start shifting, the whole energies as it is. So there is more and more and more going to be coming up, and more that's going to have to be released or will be released on our planet, because of that. So anytime there's a 2 and a 0, that means that numbers, if there's a 0 behind it, that number is emphasized. So with the 20, 20, 20, that's 3 times where that energy is increased. It's doubled, at least, if not more. And then, of course, we're today, for instance, it's the 27th day. It's a 9, which is a time of completion. So we're going to be doing lots of completion even today. But we've got there's the 8 plus 7 is 15. So there's a 6. So it's very much, we're also involved with community right now, today. So this is a good day to start putting more emphasis on embracing community and assisting with community. And that is what really the role of the light workers is to help in that upliftment of not, the planet, but what it has to be done on an individualized basis. I see one of the questions that's mentioned here is from Barbie, and it's not a question, it's an extra statement. And she said that Carl taught her how to do some of this work of moving these disembodied spirits on. And she's, for some reason, he taught me this. Well, I know, knowing Barbie personally, she is very, very much a light worker in her family setting and for others also. She's a wonderful giver. I mean, that is what she is. She's just such a kind soul. But so why Carl would maybe have her do that is because she is in a position where she's going to be around many individuals that may have issues where family members have not completed a transition and so on. So that she work at that level. the level Carl works at is such a extremely, I'm going to say, high level. In a sense, I don't even want to call it high, but it's such an intense level.
There, that's
a
good.
strong, powerful level
Mm-hmm.
that is very, very different. That's not what Carl even says or thinks when he feels, and I'm sure he's going to say this too, that all of us can do this to a certain degree, but we have to be very careful because it has to be such a protected situation where you're actually working with these disembodied spirits, these souls, because they can be powerful, or maybe they won't be quite as powerful, but you have to be protected against them. Carl always says that, their energy really impacts me, and it does. I can and really feel it. In the mornings, this morning, for instance, I can't meditate because they're distracting me. And I don't even know if they're doing it intentionally. Sometimes I think they do because I know they want me to say, hey, tell him we need more help here. We need him involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of what's going on. But I can, I can do that work also, but to the degree that he does, it's very, very different. But all of us probably are going to be involved. The ones that are light workers and are present in these shows are going to be involved in some of the work that he's talking about, mm-hmm. to a certain degree, to a certain level. And with that being said, also, Rob has a couple things that he stated there, that I think might also go along with this whole arena right now that we're speaking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
he says, I've actually seen rabbis talking about what you're talking about under the heading of psychic self-protection. Yeah, there's a lot of different names that we can put on it, labels, but it really is about protecting yourself to do that work. Question is from Rob is, if it actually is purgatory, did they choose to stay behind? I know the Catholic Church no longer teaches this, but I picture it like what the Jews refer to as tikkun.
I believe that many of them, they did choose to stay behind, whether they are aware of it or not, because some of them stayed behind because they didn't feel worthy of going to a higher realm of awareness and consciousness. So that's why they stayed behind, and it might have been because of guilt of, their lifestyle or something they may have done, or the way they were treated in their life, where they were always made feel as they were not unworthy and so on. So it could be something like that. Or they may be staying behind because of loved ones. And when they don't go through the tunnel of light at that appropriate time, when they're to make their transition, it's not that they can't do it again. It just takes a little more effort, because then they have to start searching, hey, they can go to that light on their own, but that's quite a lot of effort. And sometimes they can, so then what they do is they find someone that can help assist them in moving them onward. But all in all, they do stay behind. I mean, then it is their choice, all in all, for them to stay behind, because we all have that choice of moving on. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have that feeling that you can, or you're worthy of it, you're not going to be moving on, right, Carl?
Yeah, in my experience, there are three primary reasons that when they die and they go to the tunnel of light and they choose not to go in, the primary reason is they're afraid. They're afraid that they're not good enough, that they're going to be punished or judged or even go to hell. The second reason is their attachment, and their attachment usually is to their family. Mm. And they're not ready to leave their family. They want to stay and help their family, not knowing that they can be far more helpful to them if they go into heaven. All right. And the third reason is addictions, not only chemical, but there are probably more emotional addictions than there are chemical. So those are the three primary reasons. And at some point in the future, and it may be a matter of days, weeks, years, decades, centuries, even millennia, they've reached the point that, I'm not happy at all here. I'm going to try heaven. Mm-hmm. And they don't know where the entrance is.
Right.
And so they come to me, and because I've been told by psychics that I have a red flashy neon sign that says, come to me, I can help. Mm-hmm. the only thing the help that I give them is, number one, I'll call on their loved ones from heaven to be with them, to comfort them, because it's a trying situation for them.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I'll ask the angels of transition, and their sole function is to lead people to the entrance to heaven.
Yeah.
So they'll lead the soul that died and their heavenly family that's with them, goes with them. And the heavenly family encourages them to go in. Mm-hmm. And almost always they do go in because they're now ready. Okay. And so this is how the astral plane has been cleared. And I normally, and occasionally I work with individuals upon request, but usually it's working with groups of people that will number in the thousands at a time. Mm-hmm. All right. So the population of the astral plane is greatly diminished in comparison. Perhaps there's I'm going to guess maybe a tenth of it left in terms of what it was when I started doing this 35 years ago. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. So, and what the lower energies, particularly of those that are in what the church used to call purgatory, they do impact us here on the earth. They impact the earth itself. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're no longer there, that has helped the earth and humanity in the ascension process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I told you guys there'd be golden nuggets. There's a whole bunch of them in there because there's, I think the biggest one is that no matter what you do as a light worker, even if you don't consider yourself a light worker, is that you can help by being grounded, being compassionate, saying your prayers, right? And there's just, I don't even know where to start because there's so much. Let's just jump back a little bit to the Dark Lords, because that number is pretty high, and just one carries a whole bunch of energy. But to have 450, that's a huge energy field, right? Well, as you were talking, there was a big spike in the Earth's resonance this past week, like just a couple days ago. They said that it hit 170. 170. And so you know that when Grandmother Earth is resonating, her measurement is that high in her body that it shakes a lot of lower vibrational energies loose, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had the feeling that it coincided with the work that you were doing. It's a way of, cleaning up, really. I mean, those that wanted to go because they're no longer resonating with the place that they were at, they have to go somewhere. And so they're making the decision to leave, right? Yeah.
Now, Neshi, when you say 170, are you referring to the Schumann resonance of the Earth?
Yes.
Okay. The Schumann resonance is the frequency of the electromagnetic field that the Earth radiates. It goes out of the North Pole, it goes out several 100,000 miles into space, and then re-enters the Earth at the South Pole. Mm-hmm. For decades, well, since the 1940s, when they began to measure it, it was steady at 7.8 hertz.
Right.
And you said it reached 176?
I think it was 2 days ago, 170.
Okay.
That's a spike.
Yeah, it's a spike. And but the spikes have been getting higher and higher. I've not heard anything nearly that high. I'm glad you mentioned that. That is probably what prompted these Dark Lords. They want out of here because they can't handle those frequency energies. It makes them. It would be like if they had physical bodies. Their physical bodies would be painful. They would be in pain. And they're in some kind of mental or emotional pain because of that.
Right.
And it is the light workers that are grounding this energy. Let me back up. They are one of the powerful forces grounding this energy into the Earth. The Earth itself can ground a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But as the Earth as a light worker, send the earth high frequency light and love energy. That allows it then to absorb these tremendous energies that then allow it to send out these huge spikes of high frequency energy.
And the thing is that it's my understanding is that what we're here to do is to help to do it. Because Grandmother Earth, she's going to ascend with or without us. That's right.
Exactly.
We're following her. So what we do is that we help to ground the emotional body to the earth plane through our physical body. So, right. And so it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that we would see an exodus, we'll call it that, of lower vibrationals making the choice to leave.
Yes.
Right? It makes sense to me. And it also makes sense to me that even if you don't do that kind of clearing work, that you may have experienced shifts in your own life. I'm sure that things were leading up to this point of this high resonance, that there's shifting going around in our own lives besides, right? And it just in the last 5 days, how many people I have talked to on the phone because they're going through something. And we, just in our own community, we have several people who have had open heart surgery, heart attacks. I mean, they're fine 1 minute and they're thinking, I'm not feeling good. And so they go to urgent care and they're just on the edge of a heart attack.
Oh.
Right. And so, when you look at the bigger picture and you sense all of this, it's like, okay, we're experiencing a major shift. And so I did put a question out in the chat if anyone had been experiencing large life changes or know anyone in their lives, family, friends that are going through something, right? And because that is one of the indicators.
Right.
The shift is going on. And I think that virus has something to do with that. Nothing happens by coincidence or happenstance, right? The timing of it is all divinely led. And you're right, Carl. What we need to do is not go into the fear, but to go into the compassion and to say our prayers, be grounded, be centered, be protected, say your prayers, and say the prayers for those that are being affected by it.
Neshi, can I go way out here?
Sure, why not?
I'm not talking about fact, I'm talking about possibility.
Okay.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying that there is the chance of it happening has been increased. And the virus plays a role in this. According to what I've been reading, this virus, the fear of it, has greatly impacted international trade. If a ship has been to China, many communities won't let them in their port.
Right.
So they can't download. And China's industry or economy has slowed down 70 to 80% because people aren't leaving their homes to go to work. All right. And the government is encouraging them to stay home.
Right.
And their economy is 17% of the world's economy. Okay. So this is going to impede the economy. Our stock market is in free fall this week. And if the world economy goes down, that opens the door for a new currency to be presented on a worldwide basis. A currency backed by not only gold and silver, but also by mineral assets within countries. All right. And there is, if you've heard of BRICS, which is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, uh, um, China, and South America. They were the 5 that initiated this. There are now, I'm not sure what the current count is, but the last I heard, 59 nations that have joined them. It's a consortium of nations that want a new world currency. They do not like the American dollar because there's nothing backing it but faith of the people in the dollar.
Right.
There are no assets behind it. So they want to come out with a new world currency. And if they do, it will basically eliminate inflation, because inflation is created by turning up printing presses with the American dollar. You simply produce more, which makes it less valuable. All right. Whereas with BRICS, or with that currency, that would be it's not apt to happen. Mm-hmm. So it would add financial stability to the world's markets and to the economies of all of the nations that trade internationally. Mm-hmm. And this virus could be the tipping stone that allows this to happen and to make it acceptable. Possible. Because the economies of the countries around the world are going down. Mm-hmm. It's a way the countries can give their people hope.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility. And I'm going to up the ante just a little bit. If we're talking about possibilities, right? And the possibility is that it's a way to be, for a lot of people to be able to see the strong contrast between a patriarchal society and a matriarchal society, a out of balanced male society. Mm-hmm. As we're bringing in the divine feminine into more of a front row seat, so to speak, that we get to see the contrast between the two, even if they shift the economy, and that's okay, but it's still an out of balanced male energy. But it is a half a step toward being more compassionate and more embracing other people, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And, so that's my ante. See, and for our audience, I love these kind of conversations because it gives us a chance to really be able to take a look at the larger picture and how things kind of dovetail together, and how we're experiencing a shift that's going on. When we get caught up in our everyday life, because we're all busy, right? Sometimes we're like this. we don't really see the world around us quite like that, because we're busy. Whether you're raising a family, or you're moving from one residence to another, or anything like that, it takes a whole lot of our energy to focus on what's happening right here in front of us, right? So that's why I love these kind of conversations. Rob, could you bring up the next comment, please? Because I just saw one in here that's pretty good. Well, Marie's here. Hello, Marie. Lisa's, I think, is the one, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Rob is saying, my only experience with the work, the type of work, came from a place of self-defense. Well, he's talking about working with spirit, lower vibrational beings. Yeah. So, Lisa, thank you, Rob. Lisa says, I have had the benefit of working with the Melchizedek in clearing entities from my space. But yes, you have to keep your vibration high. And when you work with your spirit or elementals teams, to check in, because it's true, your body knows what to do with a little assistance. The coronavirus seems like a scare tactic. I don't even think about it.
Yes, and I agree with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I just want to thank you, Lisa, for your comment. I also really believe that what you said about, and you said that about, the protection, you have to have yourself protected. And we have to do that anyways. And so, really, to go back to that everyday thing, that morning and night thing, of bringing in those divine ones to be with us and to have our spirit family working with us at all times, and having them surround us so that our energies are blended with theirs so that we can radiate that divine light and love out into the world. I think more and more we're all of us gonna be exposed to well, we are already. I mean, we are exposed to people passing on, and you wonder, okay, well, I hope they're in heaven. I hope they made it to heaven, right? So what you can do, you yourself, is to send them that divine radiant light and love, and send them off into the heavens, and see them completing their transition. The more sensitive you are, the more you can sense what actually occurred for them then. And if that didn't occur for them, you can try it again. But if it doesn't, then it might be a good idea to contact someone else to help assist you with it so that they do complete their transition. But we always have to remember, though, their soul also has that free will. So we may not be able to move them on. And then what you ask for then at that point is that they be placed where it is that is appropriate for them to be at this time,
right,
to attain their purpose.
Right.
So because they may still be here to look over someone that's on the earth plane, to help them to a certain point. I've had so many people that call me, and they have activities going on in their house, and very often I work with individuals who have a Native American spirit still on their lands, and they're causing a little bit of chaos and so on, but they're also ready to move on, and we don't, and so you move them on, you help to move them on the way that you can, and they may show themselves in very, very unusual ways. When we in Florida, we would visit this park. It was right on the river, and there was actually an Indian mound there, and there's a plaque about the mound and so on, and it feels beautiful and wonderful up there when you walk up into it. And some people say to me, are you allowed to walk up there? I don't know, I just do. I just feel drawn to do it. But Carl and I, the first time we went there, we were sitting on a bench right at the bottom of this mound, and the river is flowing by. It's a beautiful space, and these squirrels are running up. They're all over the place, and they wouldn't leave Carl alone. And they were going up his pant leg and everything else. And he said, let's get out of here. So we left. And I said, Carl, I really think that there are spirits in those squirrels. I think that there's some Native American spirits in those squirrels, and they're trying to contact you. And so he didn't go back with us, but I went back with my son when he visited. I told him the story. And so we stopped, and I was in the car. My son went over to the restroom for a moment. And so I started working and talking to these squirrels. And I said, are you here to protect this mound? And they said, yes, that's what they were there for, was to protect that mound. And so anyhow, I spoke with them and so on. And I said that there are others that are protecting this mound now, and they can go and complete their transition now. And you can actually protect it even in a better form, in a better way, by your having completed your transition. So, and then we left. So we came back a week or two later, and the energy had totally shifted. There were no squirrels around. and so we went up to into the mound, up on the mound, and it was so interesting to me because there were all these people down in the sand and where the tables were, and they were all having a wonderful time. Children, you'd think they would just automatically run up those hills. Not even one of the children, no children were even coming up on that mound, but the energy was as crystal clear as ever. And so, it sounds ridiculous on one hand, but yet you can be approached in that way to help make these kind of decisions and assist in a way if you're tuned into it. And Carl didn't happen to get into it, but I thought, they're here for a reason. They're here protecting this mound. Yeah. So it's very interesting, how we can be prompted to assist in a way that seems so ridiculous on one hand, you know, so.
Well, trying to get your attention, that's for sure. They got your attention.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I was going to share that when my dad was walking on, he was in the process of, and this was in 2010. I hadn't slept all night because I was with him, right? And when my mom showed up and Paul was there, and so I decided I was going to go across the hallway to a little room that had some recliners in it, and I was just going to take a little bit of a break, right? And I knew it was close, and I wanted to have that quiet time without people asking me questions, and so I went in there and I got the recliner out, and I was that in between spot, right? Didn't take me long because I hadn't slept for more than a day. I mean, I was going on 48 hours, and so as I was closing my eyes, I could hear music, and it felt like a party, and I could hear somebody telling me that they were preparing for him, and that it was going to be a celebration, you know. And so just at that time, Paul walks in. He's concerned about me because I'm crying, you know, and it's like, no, these are happy tears. You know, it's a little confusing, you know, because I'm going to miss my dad, that's for sure. But it was such a celebration because and he crossed over probably within 20 or 30 minutes of that time frame. You know, and yeah, it took I mean, it doesn't have to be traumatic. It doesn't have to be dramatic, right? And I guess why I'm sharing that is because we're all in a position to be able to say a prayer for somebody as they're getting ready to, right?
Right.
They have a good journey.
Nessie, I'd like to share two things.
Yeah.
This is an everyday experience for me. When people make their transition, they go into the tunnel of light, and there they merge with their light body, which is that part of them that does not come in the physical form. And it contains their memory, their wisdom, their knowledge, ever since they've had a soul. It's really the memory of our soul, okay? And when they merge, there's a flash of light, and the light shoots up into heaven. And when they get to heaven, it is party time. All of their loved ones from many past lives that are in heaven at that time, they know they're coming, and they are all there to greet them. And there is so much joy, so much love, so many hugs. It's just, it's absolutely beautiful. All right. Now, the second thing I want to share is because we're talking about death, and death is occurring on a different level and in a different way right now. What is dying is the third dimensional level of consciousness. The third dimensional Earth has already died and been reborn as a fourth dimensional Earth. And when humanity is ready to go into the fourth dimension, and there are strong indications that that's going to happen this year. And that is when the collective consciousness of humanity reaches 4, okay? What that's going to initiate, it's called the event. And I'm sure many of you have heard about the event. The event is described as it's going to be a very, very intense flash of light that will envelop the entire world. Most of it's going to be coming through our sun, but it's not from our sun. It's higher energy that's being sent to our sun that it's going to then pass not only onto us, but onto our whole solar system. All right. And that's going to mark, I'm going to say, the entrance of the collective human fourth dimension, and which will make more compatible with the earth. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the earth will have the third dimensional level of consciousness has time. Now, it's not going to be an instantaneous death, but that flash of light is going to greatly accentuate its demise, because it's going to change DNA in all humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to change DNA in all life. All right? And so, yes, there is going to be a death so that something greater can be born.
Right.
And that's what happens when we leave our physical body. Usually our physical bodies are worn out and they become more of a liability than an asset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the third dimension, the level of consciousness, has become more of a liability than an asset. It's time for it for us to let go of it. Mm-hmm. And in letting go of it and taking on a fourth and fifth dimensional level of consciousness, we're having a new birth, a rebirth.
Yeah. I tell you, the word that was used when my dad was crossing over, so that I knew that it wasn't just me, doing this kind of thing. They used the word jubilation. It's jubilation, and that's the word we use, right? And so I know we're getting close to the top of the hour. We got a lot of people in the chat who are sharing things. Rob, if you could bring up the next comment, that would be great. Crystal, I was diagnosed with neurological disease. Well, that's a huge change for you, isn't it?
Wow.
And Maria is saying, daughter has been having uncontrolled heartburn. I totally believe that there is a huge heart expansion across the earth.
Definitely. That's all that feminine energy, because that's what feminine energy envelops, is that compassion, that love. So yes, that certainly is happening, that the vibratory frequency of the feminine is coming in more and more all the time.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Kimberly, may I ask about the lower frequencies? Unfortunately, my friend's son passed due to a long journey of pain. Would this be partly due to the ascension? We are helping her and her family with their grieving journey.
Well, I have a few thoughts on that, and I think Carl's going to douse. But first and foremost, the son, we don't know. We don't know what a person's reason is here to be on the planet. But what he was experiencing, I'm certain that there was a purpose in that expression that he was having in his physical body with the pain. He may have committed to experiencing this pain so that it could relieve the pain on others, or to make the journey for those that have something similar to be easier for those that would experience something similar to that after his having experienced it. So I know that his what occurred to him did not happen in vain. Did it happen due to the ascension process? I believe that it did, because it's a contribution again to be placed into that Akashic record, so that the planet can be uplifted, so that others can tap into the information that he has left behind from the experience that he had. And that's wonderful that you're assisting and helping the family in the grieving process. And Carl, you just did some dowsing?
Yes, he had not gone into the heavenly realm, but I did call in help for him. And he has now gone into the heavenly realm. So if you want to share that with the family, maybe that can bring you a certain amount of comfort.
Right. But his journey was certainly not in vain. There was a huge, huge purpose for what it is that he experienced. We don't know whether, when we see someone, where they're at in their whole journey. He may have been at the highest master level possible, but this was something that he felt he still needed to experience in his life, in the frequencies within him, in his journey to go even higher in his life, his stairway to higher consciousness. And all the while assisting with the essential.
So thank you, Kimberly, for your comment. We appreciate it. Lisa says, maybe This explains why Mother Mary has been coming to me in dream 3 nights in a row. I actually prayed the rosary for the first time. She is calling for all religions to come together, and I'm not a religious person. So I was confused at her appearance. I think it's divine compassion. So the prayer for all who are lingering to find their own truth.
Yes.
Yes, I believe so too. And of course, that the Divine Mother is the one that is so compassionate. And your mother is a representation of that Divine Mother also. So.
And so Lisa's also saying death is a graduation to the other side. That's Lisa's belief. It's a good one. Thank you.
Right. And we go through so many deaths in our life, everything that we learn, everything that has been a teaching moment for us, that was part of one of our initiations. So, and once we've learned that, there is that in a sense of death, because you no longer need that part because you've learned it and you move into that other level of awareness and consciousness. But letting the entire physical body go is definitely even a higher, I think, initiation than these small initiations and deaths that we go through really every single day, every single day of life.
Incremental. Yes, Carol.
Yeah, Neshi, I'd like to just a comment. We said that all light workers are involved in the ascension process. That's one of the primary reasons for us being here at this time. Some have special assignments, most do not. But one thing that all light workers can do is to work on themselves, to keep your chakras clear, keep your thoughts positive, keep your heart and mind connected and open, and ground within your and through your physical body the highest frequencies that you can. And if we have millions of light workers doing this is the collective energy of that is of great assist to the earth and even greater assist to our our brothers and sisters. Okay. And it also is certainly to our highest good also. And it is by doing that we are playing our role, whether we have a special assignment or not is irrelevant. But even those that have special assignments, they have to do this too in order to do what it is they're specifically here to do.
Right.
So focus on yourself. And then you're going to be radiating out through your words, through your aura, through your actions, this beautiful auric, verbal, physical energy that's going to be assisting everyone and everything around you.
Right. I like to call it minding your own vibration.
I love that. That's wonderful. But I feel those are all special assignments. We may look at them as being very small, but they're not. They are really, really special assignments because every one of us are where we're supposed to be at right at this moment. And so what it is that we do, but by by being in this vibration of light and love, that's where we have to begin. And then we're going to be guided to doing what it is we're supposed to be doing. And it might be just, it's not it might be in your family, it might be reaching out, but it's certainly is all part of the process. And you're needed wherever it is that you're placed. I've heard many times over, and I truly believe this, is that you don't have to do anything but be here on the Earth planet this time, because you have a purpose to be here right now, wherever it is that you are, so that you can ground the vibratory frequencies that you are meant to ground, that are the ones that are coming through you. So we all have a special purpose, no matter what it is that we're doing. So
that's another one of those golden nuggets. I can feel it. And I just want to say this one last thing is that there's something that I've noticed is that for some of us who have done the work and doing the work of helping people to cross, our souls to cross, right? In several past lives, I've actually helped people to come onto the earth plane. And so I'm finding myself doing both, assisting in souls coming into the earth plane as they're coming either in as walk-ins or as a baby being born. And also still assisting with people who are souls that are walking on. So it's a fine balance, but I can understand and feel why it's happening all at the same time, because it does.
All right.
I'm looking at the time, and what I'd like to do is do a little sharing with our audience about some of the things that are coming up for all of us, the three of us. One of the things I'd like to do is to share Carl's book. And Carl, could you give us a little background on your book? Rob, if you could bring up the picture and tell us about your book.
Yes, Earth Ascension, Nibiru in the Spirit Realm. It contains much of what I've learned over my 84 years, of which 45 years have been in spiritual metaphysics. And it talks about the ascension, what it is, and what we can expect it could be happening. It also talks about the role that Nibiru has played in the past and could be playing this time. And I think and it talks about the crystal, the indigo children, the changes in our DNA. And I thought I ended the book, but they said, no, you haven't. So I sat back down and they gave me the last chapter, which is the longest chapter in the book, dealing with the devas, the nature spirits. So I think you'll find it an interesting and provocative read, also very informative. And note that it's a book of fact, based on science, based on religion, based on the Bible, based on personal experience, and based on channeled information. But read it as possibilities, because it's one person's perspective, all right? Accept what you're comfortable with, modify what you're not comfortable with, or better yet, just file it away as a possibility.
That is so great. Thank you, Carl. Now, if we could bring up Ortrun's upcoming book. Ortrun.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Didn't look a little bit about this.
Well, Key of Life, Ancient Truths Integrated into the Modern World is the title of the book that is going to be coming out in May. And what it is a compilation of the many articles that I've written for Star Nations magazine. The focus of my articles have always been on learning from the experience you've had in your own life. So what I do is I share experiences that I've had in my life in this book, and then I move it from a space of understanding maybe I was at a younger level, and as I moved on through the understanding of the higher meanings of what this particular situation or incident was all about. So what was the truth behind it, and what is it that I learned through that experience? And then I'll go into sharing also ways of your learning from that, and learning to techniques that you can use then to go through your issues and situations. It can be anything. Then I end it always with a meditation, because I want you to have the experience of the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects. So it's all rounded out so that.
Did we lose her? Hello? Hello?
They seem to be frozen. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we lost them. Whoops. All right. So technical difficulties. Where can you get Carl's book? You can go to their website, which is ourspiritualascension.com, and you can get Carl's book from their website. Okay. And you can check out all of their classes. And I think they have meditation CDs at their website too. And the upcoming book for Ortrun, you'll be able to get it from Star Nations Organizations Publishing at our website and also through lulu.com. It's going to be a print and also an ebook as well. So fascinating stuff, you guys. These books are so good. We're right in the stages of pulling all the pieces together for Ortrun's book, so we have it ready for you on May 10th, I believe it is our target date for the publication. So, and of course, you can always visit starnations.org. Go visit our website, poke around, go visit, go on a walkabout at our website. You're going to see all the class information and magazine information, all of that right there. So, thank you so much for joining us this evening for Living in Two Worlds. And please come back next month. The last Thursday of every month is when Living in Two Worlds is on, and come and get your golden nuggets from Ortrun and Carl Franklin. With that, Bama Mina, that means in Potawatomi, until we see each other again. Good night, everybody.